Suppose you created an online test and are trying to add a feature to provide an immediate feedback. Feedback can be as simple as indicating whether the submitted answer is correct or not, or feedback can be more thorough, such as explaining why the submitted answer is wrong or explaining how to find the correct answer. We call this corrective feedback, and this explanatory feedback. This is a smartboard lesson I created. Here's an example of corrective feedback. When you move a wrong answer into the box, it bounces back and generates a sound. Both the bouncing back motion and buzzer sound simply indicate that your answer is wrong. When you move the correct item into the box, it snaps into the box, indicating it is the correct answer. Corrective feedback is okay in this case as it only involves a rote memorization. It doesn't require you to think and process at a deeper level. Now let me show you an example of explanatory feedback. Suppose I've already given you a lesson about how these planets orbit around the sun. Your task is to align the planets in the right order. Let me show you what happens when you make a mistake. Let's put the Earth on the first orbit, which is of course incorrect. This planet is of course the Earth, where we live. Since it's the most suited for living of all the planets, it means it's not too far away from the sun, but it's not too close to the sun either. It bounced back and generated a boing sound, indicating it was incorrect. Which do you think it was, corrective or explanatory feedback? It's corrective feedback. Then some short explanation followed. This planet is of course the Earth, where we live, since it's the most suited for living of all the planets. Through which I try to tie it to students' prior knowledge. This part is explanatory feedback. Kluger and Denise reviewed over 2,000 papers on instructional feedback. 131 papers were usable. Their enduring meta-analysis work showed that feedback had negative effect in over 38% of the cases. 38 negative effect. What's going on there? Here's some explanation. The benefits of learning with feedback can be reduced if the feedback does not prompt active learning and if the feedback is very hard to understand. What does that mean? It means you must pay specific attention to what information to include in your feedback, and you must make your learners think to make sense of the material. Corrective feedback typically doesn't prompt active learning. Also, make your feedback concise and to the point. There's one more thing you should be concerned about. Let's take a look at my smartboard lesson about the planets in the solar system again. When you get immediate feedback like this, you might be tempted to use a trial and error strategy, like, oh, it's wrong, okay, how about this one? Wrong again. How about this? Yes, got it right. Is this thought process active learning? Hell no! Active learning is a more effortful thinking to make sense of the material. So you need to design a lesson in a way that prevents learners from using a trial and error strategy, like limiting the max number of tries or giving progressively fewer points for making more errors. Whew, so that's it. Now you know there are two types of feedback, corrective and explanatory. Next time you make a lesson or test, make sure to think about which feedback to give and how it should be given.